And now before we got on, you asked me this question. I said we should wait till we got on the pod. You said, do you think baseball will be played at all this year? And
Yeah.
now I kind of thought about that for a sec. And before I answer that too, is like, I can almost bring it back to you look at like the NBA and the NHL. Because if baseball is canceled, those two are canceled.
Yeah.
And I don't think the NBA and the NHL are going to be canceled yet. I think that they'll have games. And I think if they have games, I mean, the MLB should theoretically have games. But in the same way, now because I'm talking through it, it'd be easier to cancel the MLB instead of the NBA or NHL. It's easier to cancel a season that hasn't started yet, lock in all the contracts, than NBA and NHL. Because if you're an NHL team, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but let's say at the trade deadline, you give up a first-round pick for a guy in an expiring contract to make a playoff run. You're in a spot. And now they go, season's canceled, and then that guy's gone, and you lost your first round pick. I didn't even
think about that. That hurt. Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
That is nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there'd be situations like both in the NHL and the NBA. So I think they're under the obligation that they have to, for the sake of like teams that have went all in. Like even if you didn't make a trade, like if you got a couple expiring contracts and was your all in year, you have to give them the opportunity to go for that championship.
Yeah. Or, I mean, do you just say rosters from whatever your roster was supposed to be for the end of the season, that's your roster next season? Anybody on do that? You can't do that?
I mean, think like the contracts, man, you have to go through much shit with the contracts. Because theoretically, like you'd be breaking almost every contract in the league. Because you'd be freezing them. And then you're saying, so are we not being paid until next year starts? I've already used up 75% of this year's on the contract, right? So I just don't think that would ever work. Like the Players Association would just crucify them.
Yeah, no, it's a headache. It's a headache everywhere, and I think that's pretty smart. Like I was saying, it's obvious. Like my take going into this, it's obvious. NBA, NHL, dunzo, not gonna happen. Cancel the season. And then MLB still there's a question to be had about MLB. But now that you've gone and said that, like you've basically taken that opinion of mine and just kind of flipped it on its head, because that is a great point. What do you do if you're?
I think it's more likely that the MLB is canceled than the NHL or the NBA.
Well, because how many games did the NHL have left?
I want to say that like 6 or 7 regular season games.
6 or 7?
Yeah, it wasn't very many. So I mean,
really?
At that point, you can almost just. The only issue would be is you can't jump right in the playoffs, because there'd be some teams wouldn't have played all their games yet. Or not all their games. Sorry, they wouldn't be at the same amount of games played. So if there was a playoff race, but you can kind of maybe you could figure that out, and then you could just jump right into the playoffs.
Yeah,
same with the NBA.
Because you could take you with the NHL, you're not taking total wins, you're just taking win percentages.
Well, you
can play with that. You can play with that.
That
jump right into playoffs.
Or you could do something like points, like with their estimated points would be based on what they have at this point over an 82-game season.
I don't know about that. That's like leaving it too much to the analytics. That's pushing it.
I mean, what the fuck's the difference between that and their winning percentage? It's essentially the same thing. One's just stretched out.
Winning percentage.
Here's the thing. But in the NHL, you get 1 point for an overtime or shootout loss, and those add up.
Oh, okay.
Right,
okay.
Those add up. So if you got a team that has two less wins, but they have 4 more overtime losses as opposed to regulation losses, those two teams are in the same spot. But you do winning percentage, the other team jumps up. If you do just points, they're still the same.
Man, that's like a participation trophy. Getting 1 point for losing in overtime. Come on, NHL, do better. Do better, NHL.
I mean, that's just the way it goes.
It's just the way she goes. But yeah, like MLB, I'm just thinking, okay, so if MLB happens, in like where we are in Toronto, near Toronto, like you can't have an event until July 30th. So that would mean
the 30th.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's July 30th.
Wow,
or no, June 30th. June 30th.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
June 30th. I'm mixing up my months here. That's how crazy we're getting because of COVID-19 and not having baseball. Like I'm just getting months mixed up.
Okay. Also, too, isn't it wild? This is the nicest April we've had in so long, and we can't go out and do anything.
It's teasing us. It's teasing us.
It's some bullshit, is what it is.
Yeah. Man, I went for a nature walk the other day, and like anytime you pass it, like somebody gets on the trail, it's like there's a bubble between you guys, and you just like it's just like the force field, like trying to work your way around them. Anyways, it's like that national park in China where it's just open it up and everybody goes, like this is try to go for a walk these days. Like it's pretty crowded. The streets are like for a quarantine, everyone's just doing their walks, like getting outside. Anyways. So June 30th, that's when you can have that's right now. That's the date, or July 1st. You can have events in Toronto. So that's like if the Jays are going to play in Toronto, that's the latest, or that's when that's going to happen at the earliest. Okay. And then you think about so Toronto hasn't been hit it's being hit by coronavirus, but it's nothing like the situation in New York. New York is the epicenter of the virus in North America. It is a shit show there. Yep. And so the Mets, the Yankees, not going to be playing in New York until at least if the Mets and the Yankees are playing a game in New York in August in New York City, that is incredible. That is amazing. Mm-hmm. Like that is like something miraculous happened. Mm-hmm. Most likely Mets they're going to be playing in Florida at their spring training facilities. Because so Port St. Lucie, I don't know where the Yankees play. Yeah. So they're going to be playing there. So it's just all these logistics of just thinking about like you got to go here, you got to go here, all to have a season, to start a season that we're not going to have 163 games. We're not going to have 120 games. We're not going to have 100 games. We're going to have probably, if we're lucky, like 60 games. Let's say we start if we start August 1st, we had 60 games. That would take us playoffs start the first week of October, or the second week in October if you account for off days and all that. You have a week. Yeah. Let's say you have a week. So you have 2 months of playing, a week worth of off days, a little in between. That you're sitting at October, the second week in October, you start playoffs. You don't do a wild card game. You just say the top person in the wild card makes the playoffs, like the old style. Yeah. And then you have how long are playoffs? Like a month and a half.
Unless you start shortening playoff series too. But here's the thing. I think if you're the MLB, you got to back from what I said a couple episodes ago, or maybe last episode, where the 7-inning doubleheaders. Maybe not I think when you start, you go Monday through Friday, regular night games, Saturday, Sunday, 7-inning doubleheaders each time. There you go.
So you're having 4 games basically on Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I mean, 7 innings, a little bit shorter, but I mean.
That's still that. I mean.
Okay, so Wednesday and Saturday doubleheaders.
Because think about it. Because think about it. If you did it Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, then that fucks up your pitching rotation.
Like 90% of your pitching rotation has gone on the weekend.
Yeah, I know. You're right. Expand roster. So Wednesday, Saturday, 7-inning doubleheaders, and this year the roster gets expanded to 30.
Yeah, you could do
that. And you get a Friday off every other week. So you're looking at 9 games a week on weeks, 8 on the off weeks. So you're a little bit quicker pace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's doable. Like anything you do. The season comes with a huge asterisk. And people are saying, well, what's the point of doing it if we're going to have a huge asterisk? And that's not the point. We don't play the game. The stats are secondary to the game. To sacrifice the game to preserve statistics is backwards to me. Baseball is baseball. The fun is to tune in. not to think about, oh, like this guy would have hit, like, and there's going to be tons of fun. Like those conversations are going to be fun, I think, to say, okay, this guy, if he played in a full season, like if he had his rookie year in a full season, this is what he would be able to do, but he wasn't. So the speculation is fun. It's less of a problem, and it's more of just more reasons to talk about baseball. So
I got one thing for you though, and that, like, let's say this year they do a 65 game season and like kind of they have to do something for the playoffs. The Mets win the World Series.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that versus versus they win in 2015?
Like, how would I feel if it happened? I would be flexing on people. I was like, I don't care. I don't care what you say. That was an official season.
You wouldn't feel like, but would it feel as exciting as like a normal one? Would it be like under normal circumstances, or would it feel a little bit less because you're in a weird season?
See, I think that's an interesting question because, like, gun to my head, I had to pick one. I would definitely pick Mets win a full season.
Oh, of course, like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
but in terms of like excitement, like after not having baseball from April, May, June, July, August, baseball starts. Every single game coming after that, I'm gonna enjoy all the more because there's less of it, and I had to wait longer for it, which is gonna make those games when the Mets win like all the more exciting. So like
I feel that.
I feel like it's good either way. Like I'll just be happy. Like I'm just happy if baseball happens this year. The Mets win. That's icing on the cake, really.
I see. For me, I think like the Blue Jays won. I'd obviously be happy and I'd flex it. But I think like long term, especially if they didn't win again for a long time, I mean, you're in positions where we cheer for teams that haven't won.
You would never hear the end of it. That the Jays won. It was a fake season. It was only half. Like, of course, I'm gonna roast you for it if the Jays.
But I would be like it wouldn't be as special and big as if it was a regular season.
No, I feel that's fair. That's fair.
That asterisk would really live with me.
Now, okay, what if this is like speculation? Like, let's say we get to August, or like we're getting closer to August, and it's like, okay, like this could happen. This season could happen very much. Like
you're saying in August, like a game hasn't been played yet.
Let's say we're in halfway through June. Game hasn't been played yet. There's no word. Things are dead. And it's looking like, okay, maybe we could start halfway through August, but then we'd have like a 45 game season. The Mets and the Yankees would have to play in Florida. There's not going to be any fans in attendance. There's going to be a huge asterisk on this thing. The way the off days are going to have to work, pitchers are going to be working their ass off. Players are going to get no days off. It's just going to be a big headache to have this season, only to have whoever wins it have a huge asterisk beside them. Let's instead go down to Florida and get all the AAA players and have a prospect, like a month-long prospect showcase, like a tournament where everybody can just show off their prospects. And it's just like for the sake of having baseball on TV without messing with this like long history of just stats coming from a full season.
Yeah. I like that. I like that idea. I like that idea too. I think like the only other thing that I can think, like if you had to use MLB teams, is you do kind of a shortened season, like you do a month of a season, then you do a massive tournament.
Yeah.
But even then, like the teams that get knocked out first round, like you barely had a season.
Yeah. And it's also like, what do you do if you use MLB players like for this? The problem is, is this count as your contract year? Like, is this count as this year for a contract?
I mean, I think even if they don't play, I would think it would.
That sucks. That sucks for the fans. Like, I'm thinking like selfishly, like Cespedes, this was a contract year. So the Mets just not going to have Cespedes next year?
Yeah, probably not.
That is just COVID-19. You've crossed the freaking line, man. That is just.
Well, but I mean, like, what are you going to say, though? Like, Cespedes doesn't get paid this year?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
So he buys one less Stingray, okay? Like Stingray car, or a slingshot car, right? Like,
but realistically, like, imagine like in your job if they were just like, hey, like you're not being paid for the next year, like talk about.
Well, it's not like you're working this year. Like, there's tons of people that are getting laid off in this time. Like this,
man. Imagine like you going like they had to apply for EI.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, fair is fair. Like,
yeah,
like the contract is signed, and like, but then again, it's like these teams aren't gonna have enough money to pay them. Like, you get to August, like, there's still no sports. Like, the money, like, as rich as these organizations are, the money's gonna run dry.
Well, and I mean, another thing to go back to the contracts, the ink's dry for sure. But at the same time, if you're Cespedes, you've been hurt for the last long ass time.
Yeah, Cespedes is one where it's like he's not getting any money.
Yeah, you're not getting any
contract anyway.
You're not getting any because you haven't proven yourself. Like, this was his year to prove himself to get paid. So now if you're just going to be like, well, your contract is complete, Cespedes, they boot him out on the street, Cespedes is going to be like, well, I got to prove to somebody that I can still like swing a bat, you know.
Here's one situation too, like Mookie Betts trade from the Red Sox to the Dodgers because the Red Sox didn't want to pay him. So he's on a sizable contract for this year, and then he's a free agent. What if the Dodgers, like, in season's canceled, the Dodgers pay that out, he hits free agency, signs back with Boston. Big deal. Because Mookie Betts is being paid next summer, or next winter, sorry, regardless of whether they play or not. Like, unless, like, there's, like, significant financial ramifications. Like, he should be paid. So, and, like, so that's a situation where it's, like, for him, he's like, if you push my free agency off, it makes me 1 year older, right? That's a lot less money in his pocket on a long-term deal. So what if in a situation like that too, he just goes back to the Red Sox, the Dodgers give all the prospects for 0 games? Even if he doesn't even go back to the Red Sox, even if he goes anywhere else.
This is the biggest, like, this has got to be one of the biggest shit shows in sports history.
I think it is.
It's the biggest shit show in sports history.
Yeah, I think
this is like
other than what fucking World War II.
Yeah. But even World War II, like,
they kept playing.
They kept playing, you know.
Yeah, like I don't think anything compares to this.
No, this is just like, these are wild times, and just having these conversations, like, it's just, oh my, I can't believe it, and it's just crazy too. Like, we're 11 episodes into our freaking sports podcast.
Think about where we started. Like, our first episode, was literally like the Super Bowl recap, and we were getting ready for the XFL season.
Yeah.
And then to our second episode, our picture was John Jones on a UFC poster. Our 10th episode, Sam in a mugshot. So we're just
yeah, this has just been wild. This has been a wild run.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is just crazy. Like, I can't believe. So you're saying most likely MLB not happening?
No. I'm not saying most likely. I think there'll be a season. I think they'll figure it out. But I mean, if you're sitting in August and you haven't played, I think it's time to cancel it.
Yeah. Okay. So like, and
I honestly think, like, realistically, like, this hasn't been going on, like, in North America, it hasn't been going on that long. Like, we've been in quarantine for 2 weeks.
That's right.
Like, I think it's been maybe 3.
Yeah, it's been like 2 or 3 weeks. It feels like a lot longer, because it's weird too, because everybody's tiered, right? Like, my school shut down probably 3 weeks ago. Like, other people shut down work, like, other people's work shut down last week, and they're coming back next week. Like, it's just all. And now, I mean, in Ontario, like, they're shutting down. Like, Rob Ford went through and just shut down a ton of stuff. Or Doug Ford. Oh my goodness.
R.I.P. Rob.
R.I.P. Rob. Everybody misses you. Fun fact about Rob Ford. I did, when I was a kid, like, I was in high school, take your kid to work day. Like, my mom set me off with, like, one of her friends to go take me to, because she worked in the Globe and Mail, which is a Canadian newspaper. And that was the morning that all of that shit was dropping about Rob Ford. So it was just like a ton of newspaper people sitting around with them and, like, coming up with, like, funny headlines. And, like,
and I'm sure you put in at least 6 suggestions.
Yeah, I put in a ton. I can't, like, it was like had one. It was like a quote. It was like a quote. It's like Hangover 4, Rob's drunken stupor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, rest in peace, Rob. He really was. He was.
But I mean, and too, like, to go on, like the family gets roasted a lot. But Doug Ford, like, he's made some pretty bad decisions. Not to get all political on this podcast,
Yeah.
but like there was a video of him. He went to, like, he loaded up his truck, like his own truck, and went to a hospital with like medical supplies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I've been impressed. Like, he really kind of came down hard like the other day and said, we're gonna shut down this, like all that. Yeah. Like, I think he's taking it seriously, and I mean, the people listening from the States definitely don't want to hear Canadian politics, much less provincial politics.
Yeah, I don't even want to hear my own province's politics.
Yeah.
If you're from Florida, you're going, who the fuck are these people?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about Florida state politics, man, they're just shutting stuff down right now. So, I mean, if anything, MLB could have a full season in Florida because they've been so far the loosest in terms of locking things down for coronavirus.
Jesus Christ, WrestleMania just happened there. Of course, they're being loose about it.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, go to Florida. Like,
yeah, really.
You want to have sports? Go to Florida. Like, if I had to put a bet on where the UFC is, where the next UFC, like Tony, Covington is,
Florida. You think?
Florida. Yeah, I think Florida.
I think. I'm not trying to be insensitive to this. I just think it's like actual fact. I think like some native land.
Yeah.
I actually saw a rumor about that they were trying to go on it because there's not as many
on like a reservation.
Yeah, there's not as many legislations because they can't legislate on it.
That'd be badass. That would be totally badass. That'd be sick.
I mean, you'd have to make the arena and everything to be in. Well, I guess it wouldn't be as difficult because it's not like you need fans.
No, you just have. Honestly, you could do it in a warehouse.
No.
You have a warehouse. You just kind of build an octagon. Like they definitely have a truck with an octagon. Like build your own octagon thing, ready to go.
Well, yeah, it's not like any arena that they fight in has an octagon ready. They have to bring it.
They bring it. So
I mean, I think Tony Ferguson would feel more comfortable fighting in a warehouse than anywhere.
Yeah, he would. It's like back in the Khabib Conor days, which like I don't care, like anywhere I'll fight you on the streets. Like Khabib just like with phone in his face, like I will fight you anywhere. Like
wouldn't get off the bus though.
Yeah, wouldn't get off the bus. You know. So look at my hands. Look at my hands. I showed you my hands.
This is horrible radio. We're like making hand things.
Yeah, we're doing hand things. Oh man. Thanks for watching that YouTube clip, which was taken from our full show, Big Game Talk with Brad and Chris. If you want to check out the show and give it a listen, you can find us wherever you find your podcasts.
And if you want to watch some more YouTube clips where we talk about all your favorite sports, click any of these boxes here or check the link in the description. Thanks and have a great day.